In the shadows of my bedroom, I'd spent years stealing moments as tailor, slipping into dresses and heels, heart racing with every rustle of fabric. College flung open the door to a bolder world, where I could hone the craft of becoming her. My first year was a chaotic dance of mistakes, eyeliner smeared like war paint, wigs that rebelled against my scalp, and clothes that felt more like a costume than a second skin. By my second year, I'd wrestled the chaos into submission, perfecting makeup that sculpted my face, and curating a wardrobe that whispered my truth. I flirted with dating, always on guard, letting no one pierce the veil of my secret. The internet was my salvation, leading me to breast forms that fit like they were molded for me, igniting a spark of courage. As tailor, I stepped into the world, my illusion flawless, every stride a defiant claim to the woman I was becoming. I landed a job that fit my life like a glove, flexible hours, enough pay to fuel my growing wardrobe, and the freedom to slip away for weekend nights. Best of all, it funded the slow, meticulous process of laser hair removal, erasing my beard over 6 months until my face was smooth, unrecognizable even to myself in the mirror. Through work, I networked, planting seeds for a career after graduation, but I kept Taylor hidden, a secret tucked away from colleagues and friends. I wasn't rail-thin voluptuous was the kindest word, with curves that felt generous rather than excessive. My blonde hair, now fading to a sandy brown, framed blue eyes that needed no glasses, a small mercy in my transformation. But the desk job took its toll, my waistline creeping outward as I sat for hours. Determined to take control, I joined the college's free weight loss program. That's where I met Monica, the instructor, whose jet black hair and piercing green eyes belied her 43 years. She radiated vitality, making my softer frame feel like a betrayal of my own efforts. Her classes started simple brisk walks, sit-ups, a diet overhaul that left me sweating and starving. I was out of shape, gasping through each session, but within weeks I'd shed nearly 20 pounds. The exercises grew less punishing, my body stronger, more responsive. Then, Monica split the group girls to aerobics, boys to more sit-ups. I didn't hesitate. Without a word, I joined the women, my body humming with the rhythm of aerobics, every muscle engaged, every movement a step closer to the version of myself I wanted to be. Weekends were still Taylor's domain. Slimmer, toned. I felt a new femininity blossoming. No longer the plump co-ed, but not quite the sleek ideal either. I could venture out with less fear, my confidence buoyed by each glance that didn't linger too long. One Saturday, I slipped into a navy dress, pearls gleaming at my throat, and drove to an upscale restaurant, craving the elegance of dining alone. Settling into my seat, I ordered a glass of light wine, savoring the calm, the quiet assurance of belonging. Across the room, I caught Monica's gaze, her smile warm but knowing. My pulse quickened, but I held my composure, studying the menu as if it held all the answers. A shadow fell over my table. "Hello," Monica said, sliding into the chair across from me, her voice smooth as velvet. "I don't think we've met not like this." Her eyes sparkled with recognition. "Those exercises have worked wonders, haven't they? Another month, and you'll be turning heads everywhere." I stayed silent, my identity laid bare. No need for explanations. "I'm starting a new group," she continued, undeterred. "Women only, focused on body shaping. You'd be perfect for it." "Taylor," I said softly, offering my name before she could ask. "Taylor," she repeated, the word a caress. "It's lovely. Join us. My facilities are private. You'd be safe." "I can't," I murmured, the weight of my secret pressing down. "You know why." She waved it off. "That's nothing. Think about it, Taylor. You're stunning, and I'd hate to see you hold back." She rose, leaving me with a smile that lingered like a challenge. My meal arrived, and I ate in silence, Monica's offer swirling in my mind. A women-only class? The thought sent a shiver through me, equal parts thrill and terror. My job offered flexibility, work from home, meet deadlines, no questions asked. I could rearrange my Sundays, make it work. But the image of myself in a leotard, breast forms slipping mid-jump, haunted me. I almost laughed at the absurdity of it. Back home, I threw myself into cleaning my apartment, tucking away Taylor's dresses and makeup. My mother, Susan, was coming to visit, and I couldn't risk her finding traces of the daughter I hadn't fully confessed to being. She'd caught me cross-dressing as a teenager, even let me go out a few times after long talks, but I'd kept Taylor's return a secret. The coffee brewed, the apartment spotless. I braced myself for Susan's arrival, Monica's words still tugging at my thoughts, daring me to step further into the life I'd only half embraced. Susan swept into my apartment, her familiar warmth filling the space as we embraced. Over coffee, the conversation flowed effortlessly: school, friends, my job, the exercise classes that had shaved off the extra pounds I'd gained. She listened with a mother's pride, her eyes sparkling as I described my progress, the muffins I set out barely touched. Then, her tone shifted, gentle but pointed. "What about Taylor?" she asked, catching me off guard. I froze, my mind scrambling. "Don't play coy," she said, a knowing smile softening her words. "I glimpsed a flash of pink in your closet. You're still dressing, aren't you? I just want to know if you're managing okay, here at college." I hesitated, words caught in my throat. "You're almost 19, she continued, her voice steady, reassuring. "You're free to live as you choose. I only worry about your safety." I mumbled a quick, "I'm fine," just as my phone buzzed. Monica's voice came through, crisp and insistent, urging me to join her new women-only body-shaping group starting Tuesday. "Leotards are preferred, Taylor. I expect you there." The call ended, leaving me rattled, my face betraying the turmoil. Susan's gaze sharpened. "It's about Taylor, isn't it? Tell me. I can help." The truth spilled out. I never could keep secrets from her. My instructor, Monica, invited me to a women's exercise group. She's seen me as Taylor and thinks I can handle it. Susan leaned back, processing. "If she's asking, she believes you belong. She wouldn't risk it otherwise, right?" I nodded, but doubt gnawed at me. What if something slips? I'd be a joke at school. Susan's laugh was gentle but firm. "Not if you're smart about your undergarments. You know that." She paused, her expression softening further. "Can I see Taylor again? Let's go to dinner, my treat. It's been too long, and you need to talk this through. I'm here for you." "You're not upset?" I asked, searching her face for any hint of disapproval. "I thought, before, you said—" "That was then," she interrupted, her voice warm but resolute. "This is now. Go get ready. We'll have a nice evening out." Her sincerity disarmed me. No trace of judgment in her eyes. With a quiet breath, I retreated to my room. The day before, I'd meticulously removed every stray hair, so it was just a matter of transforming. Makeup came first: soft foundation, a sweep of eyeliner, and a touch of mascara to frame my blue eyes. I coaxed my sandy brown hair into a sleek pageboy, then slipped into a tan-sheath dress, its fabric now draping loosely over my slimmer frame, a testament to Monica's workouts. White heels, beaded choker, and pearl earrings completed the look, understated yet polished. A dab of soft red lipstick, a spritz of perfume, and I was ready, my purse slung over my shoulder. I stepped into the living room, heart pounding as Susan stood, her eyes widening before a smile spread across her face. "You're beautiful," she said, pulling me into a hug that felt like absolution. 2 years had passed since she'd last seen Taylor, and now, here I was, more myself than ever. We left the apartment, the night air cool against my skin, her acceptance a quiet anchor as we headed to dinner, the weight of Monica's invitation still tugging at my thoughts. The restaurant's warm glow welcomed us back, the same place where I'd seen Monica days before. The staff recognized me, ushering Susan and me to a table with a nod of familiarity. We settled in, sipping crisp wine, the air between us light as we ordered plates of the city's finest Italian. Susan's grin held a playful edge, but I couldn't shake a quiet unease, not about being seen as Taylor, but about what Susan might say or do. She'd given no hint of mischief, so I let myself relax, savoring the rich pasta and the moment's ease. Then a waiter approached, balancing 2 glasses of wine on a tray. "With regards from the gentleman," he said, setting them down and gesturing across the room. My stomach lurched. It was Ryan, a classmate, his eyes locked on me. Before I could protest, Susan accepted the wine with a gracious nod. "Susan!" I hissed, panic rising as the waiter retreated. "He's in my classes! He knows me!" She squeezed my hand, her voice calm but firm. "You can't hide in your apartment forever, Taylor. If you're going to live as a woman, you'll need to navigate men. Ryan's a friend, start there." Before I could argue, a shadow fell over the table. "Ladies," Ryan said, his voice smooth. "I'm Ryan. I couldn't resist acknowledging your beauty." He slid into the seat beside me, his warmth unnervingly close. "This is Taylor," Susan said, unfazed. "And I'm Susan, her mother, just visiting." "Thank you for the wine," she added, her tone warm. "It's a gallant gesture." Ryan's grin widened, his gaze fixed on me. "You both light up the room," he said, and I felt the weight of his words, heavy with charm and directed squarely at me. My heart raced. Did he see through me, or was I just another woman to him? The thought made me feel feminine, exposed, and terrified all at once, as if a neon sign screamed my secret. He lingered, chatting lightly, then stunned me. "Taylor, may I call you sometime?" My jaw locked, words failing me. No one had ever asked that of Taylor. Susan's subtle kick under the table jolted me, and I nodded, dazed. He handed me a pen and pad, and I scrawled my number, glaring at Susan's amused smile. Ryan took my hand briefly, his touch soft, then wished us a pleasant evening and returned to his table. "Why did you let him do that?" I whispered, my voice tight. "He'll find out." Susan's laugh was soft, teasing. "Find out you're a shy, lovely girl. He already sees that. Keep his hands where they belong, and you two could have fun. Maybe he's the push you need to decide who you are." I started to protest, but she cut me off. "Taylor, we both know you're becoming her more often. Maybe I'm sitting with the daughter you've always wanted to be." Her words struck deep, unearthing memories of stolen moments in dresses, the terror of stepping outside, the first time I confessed my chosen name to her. I'd seen her disappointment then, fleeting but sharp, before I'd scrambled back into my boyish facade. Now she leaned forward, her eyes searching. "I thought I had a son, but by the third time I saw Taylor, I knew you wanted this. Tell me, do you want to be a girl?" The question hung heavy, my mind racing through years of secrecy, each dress a rebellion, each outing a dare. I wanted to say yes, to claim the truth that pulsed through me, but the word caught, tethered to the son I'd been for her. Susan waited, her elegance a mirror of the woman I longed to embody, her poise a quiet challenge. "How often do you go out as Taylor?" she asked, breaking the silence. "Weekends, mostly," I admitted, wary. "Then it's time we find out how much this means to you," she said, her voice resolute. "My club's annual ball is in 6 months. I want you there, with an escort, Ryan, perhaps. Show everyone how beautiful you are." I stared, speechless, as she pressed on. "Join Monica's group. In 4 months, you'll be in perfect shape. We'll get you a gown, a day at the salon sauna, massage, hair, nails, the works. You'll feel like a new woman." My voice trembled. 4 months? What if I'm not ready? Susan's tone sharpened, drawing eyes from nearby tables. "Taylor Marie, you've built this girl on your own, but it's time to choose. I want you happy, whether as my daughter or my son, but not both. Say you want to be my daughter, and I'll help you shine brighter than anyone on campus." Her words burned, a truth I couldn't deny. At 16, She'd let me step out as Taylor, her permission a fragile truce we never discussed. Now, dressed as her daughter, I was a living testament to my desires, louder than any confession. I wanted to be like her, graceful, poised, a true woman, not a caricature. Okay, I said, voice steady, but if I'm not ready in 3 months, I won't do it. Susan shook her head. 4 months, and you'll give it everything. We'll get what you need to fill out that gown, and you'll attend with an escort. Join Monica's group, Taylor. It's time. Her eyes held mine, daring me to deny it. Can you tell me this isn't who you are? My lips parted, and one word escaped. No. Susan settled the bill, and we stepped out into the crisp evening air, a weight lifting from my chest as if I'd shed years of doubt. My mother's words had dismantled every excuse I'd clung to, the notion that she'd only tolerate Taylor part-time, the fear that no one could find me desirable, the insecurity about my less-than-perfect figure. Like a bird freed from its cage, I saw a future unspooled before me, vibrant and possible, though blind to the hazards lurking beneath the promise. In the car, silence wrapped us in a quiet understanding, a spark of confidence igniting between us. That night, in soft nightgowns, I showed Susan my breast forms at her request budget models, functional but private, seen only by me. She said nothing, her silence warm, and we drifted to bed. Morning light spilled through my open closet door, and a reckless thought struck. Why not go to class as Taylor? Professors barely noticed first and second-year students, caring only for submitted work with my legal name attached. As long as I blended in, my clothes wouldn't raise an eyebrow. Heart-pounding, I brewed coffee, finding Susan already at the table, her own cup steaming. I poured mine and retreated to my room, resolve hardening. 45 minutes later, I emerged in a blue and white checkered miniskirt, white pullover, pantyhose, and gym shoes, my hair pinned back with barrettes. Susan's eyes flicked over me, but she only said, "I'll stay a few days, Taylor. We can talk. Maybe spruce up your wardrobe. Sound good?" I hugged her tightly, gratitude swelling, then grabbed my purse and strode out, a new energy propelling me to campus. Students milled about, oblivious as I blended into the crowd, bag and purse in hand. Ryan's wave caught me off guard in the lecture hall, and I flashed a shy smile before diving into notes. Classes blurred by. The day unremarkable until a girl plopped down beside me, giggling about cute boys in the room. I nodded along, heart racing but steady, her chatter folding me into the easy camaraderie of college girls. By the time I got home, exhaustion mingled with elation. No one had questioned me, and the girls' acceptance felt like a quiet victory. Susan greeted me with dinner and a grin, packages stacked on the couch. "I checked your closet," she said. "These should help." Inside were 3 skirts, a lilac suit, 2 dresses, a purse, 2 pairs of shoes, panties, and my breath caught a white sports bra, purple tights, and a pink leotard. I tried them on after dinner, everything fitting perfectly, though the leotard required extra care to keep my secret secure. Susan's smile was all approval as I slipped into jeans for homework, emailing assignments from home, free to attend classes as Taylor. The next day mirrored the first, but Susan was gone when I returned, a note urging me to come home for the weekend. That night, Ryan called, apologizing for missing me in class. "Your mom's great," he said, then asked me to dinner Saturday. I explained I'd be home, but added, "Another time I'd like that." He promised to see me Monday, leaving me reeling. Why me, out of every girl he could choose? Sleep brought dreams of being truly female, shattered by morning's reality. That evening, I slipped into my leotard, tights, and a jacket for Monica's class. She greeted me as one of 15 girls, no hesitation, and we dove into basics, half an hour of stretches before a break, then dance-like moves she called figure-enhancing. The music carried me, sweat beading as I forgot my outfit, lost in the rhythm. When the others hit the showers, I zipped up and left, exhilarated. Friday, I packed and drove home, the 2-hour trip soothing. Susan wasn't there, so I swapped jeans for a skirt and blouse, starting dinner in the kitchen. She breezed in, helping with the meal, and over plates of chicken, dropped a bombshell. I spoke to Tammy, you remember her. She had a mastectomy and recommended a place for breast forms. We have an appointment tomorrow at 10. My fork froze. You told someone about me? I sputtered. Susan waved it off. They make forms for men all the time. It's no big deal. Eat. I did, nerves twisting at the thought of the appointment. Later, as we watched TV, the doorbell rang. Lindsay, Tammy's daughter, stepped in, her grin familiar. Taylor, it's been ages, she said. Susan had tipped her off, and Lindsay invited me to Club Eden with friends tomorrow night. Susan's subtle nod sealed it. I'd love to, I said, then added, I'm attending college as a girl now. Susan chimed in, she even has a boyfriend, handsome too. Lindsay's eyes widened. A boyfriend? I laughed, downplaying Ryan's interest, then spilled everything his calls, Monica's class, my campus life as Taylor. Lindsay insisted on joining us for the breast form fitting, and I couldn't refuse. The appointment was smoother than I'd feared. The staff crafted forms that matched my skin perfectly, blending seamlessly once attached. I stared, awestruck they looked like they'd grown there. My old bra didn't fit, and Susan ushered me into a blouse, paid, and let us out. Lindsay giggled, but I felt electric, braless, and bold, my new curves subtly visible through the fabric. Susan, predictably, steered us to a store, where I was fitted for 36B bras 4, including the one I wore home. The thrill of my new silhouette lingered, though I resisted the urge to fuss over them. Lindsay promised to pick me up at 7 for Club Eden, leaving me to rifle through my closet, giddy at the sight of my reflection. Stripped to my panties, I felt whole, save for the secret tucked away. I headed for the shower, ready to step into the night as the girl I was becoming. I slipped into my new push-up bra, the snug fit accentuating my curves, paired with tight panties that kept everything discreetly tucked. A padded panty brief and pantyhose smoothed my silhouette, and I applied my makeup with a touch more drama-smoky eyes, a bolder lip. The pale green sheath dress, sleeveless with a square neckline, hugged my frame, a favorite that felt like a second skin. In the bathroom, I coaxed my hair into a pageboy, secured with hairspray, then added dangling earrings, a choker, and low heels. A spritz of perfume, a swipe of lipstick, and I borrowed Susan's white jacket sweater, grabbing my purse before settling in the family room to wait for Lindsay. Club Eden's familiar pulse greeted us, but instead of pounding beats, soft jazz wove through the hum of voices and clinking dishes. Lindsay guided me to a table packed with high school faces. Maury, the lanky, aspiring lawyer. Beth, the once mousy girl, now a go-go dancer funding college. Vivian, faded from her former glory by drugs. Chet, the hard-working gas station owner and business major. Ethan, the destined med student. Chad, the quarterback bully. And Logan, chasing a music career. I slid between Lindsay and Chad, his glance sharp but fleeting. Lindsay introduced me as her friend Taylor, and I melted into the group, their easy acceptance a quiet thrill. We laughed, sipped drinks, and danced Chet's smooth moves a delight, Ethan's charm effortless. But Chad's dance was a nightmare, his hands possessive, pulling me too close, his grind aggressive. I broke free, heart pounding, and stormed back to the table, his rage simmering behind a cool facade. I knew Chad's temper, his history of pushing boundaries without crossing them, but his leer followed me all night. Lindsay sensed my unease and signaled our exit, but Chad grabbed my wrist, yanking me into a suffocating bear hug. I froze, his strength overwhelming, as he whispered, "You gave me the green light, Taylor," then pulled back. "You're mine tonight." The group tensed, ready to intervene, when a figure emerged from the dim light, tall, rugged, muscles outmatching Chad's. "That's no way to treat a lady," he said, voice steady. "Let her go." Chad tightened his grip, defiant. "She's with me." "Beat it." The stranger, unfazed, stepped closer. All I saw was a girl who made the mistake of dancing with you. You're a bore, Chad. Let her go. Chad's body coiled, and I braced for violence. He shoved me aside, charging the man with fists clenched, head low. The stranger sidestepped, letting Chad crash into a railing, sprawling onto the dance floor. Enraged, Chad rushed again, swinging wildly. The man dodged, calm as ever, until Ethan landed a solid punch to Chad's head, dropping him cold. "Nicely done," the stranger said, kneeling to check Chad. "I'm Colton, his brother. You all should go." Lindsay grabbed my arm, and we fled, the group trailing. Maury offered to drive me home, but I stuck with Lindsay, guilt gnawing at me. I'd ignored Chad's reputation, letting my excitement as Taylor cloud my judgment. At home, I recounted the night to Susan, who listened, concern etched on her face. "I can handle it," I assured her. After church, I packed and drove back to campus, settling into a rhythm classes by day, studying at night, and Monica's group twice a week. The exercise class bonded us, girls venting about childhood weight struggles or body image woes. I mentioned wanting to fill out, earning playful jeers. My new breast forms drew whistles the first time they saw me in the leotard, but I laughed it off, blaming the boob fairy. Monica introduced dance aerobics and ballet moves, leaving me sore but 6 pounds lighter by week's end, my waist down to 28 inches. My breasts, a blessing and a curse, got in the way cooking, tying shoes, looking down, but one glance in the mirror made it worth it. Ryan hadn't called, and I assumed he'd moved on. A sting I couldn't shake. Susan liked him, and I'd hoped he'd be my first real boyfriend. Then, Alyssa, a bubbly girl from class, insisted I meet her brother, also Ryan. At a pub outing, I wore a skirt, blouse, and low heels, nerves tingling. Alyssa pointed to her brother, and there he was, my Ryan, grinning as he approached. "Alyssa didn't say it was you," he said. "I almost skipped this. Hate blind dates." I blushed. "You didn't call. I thought you lost interest." He laughed, explaining his 2-month NROTC duty. "Join me?" he asked, offering a drink. His touch sent a shiver through me as we squeezed into a booth, his warmth disarming. He was witty, kind, handsome, and when he turned my face to his lips brushed mine. I froze, heart racing, but didn't pull away, letting the kiss linger. His smile melted my fears, and I found myself grinning back. "Can I drive you home?" he asked. "I drove," I said. Then, emboldened, added, "Maybe I should have let Alyssa bring me." He squeezed my hand. "Breakfast tomorrow? I'll pick you up at 10. I nodded, giddy but reeling as I drove home, realizing I'd flirted like a smitten schoolgirl. In class, Monica assigned tailored exercises ballet bar, sit-ups, treadmill, plus vitamins, and a strict diet. Alyssa teased that Ryan couldn't stop talking about me, but I knew he'd eventually want more than I could offer. Exhausted, I collapsed mid-workout, but Monica's measurements showed progress my hips now 2 inches wider than my waist. She predicted a fuller figure in a month if I stuck to the plan. Classes embraced me as just another girl, and new friends outside the group eased my doubts, their fluid grace a goal I chased but hadn't yet reached. Thursday's math class let out, and I was swept into the stream of students heading to the next lecture when Chad barreled through, eyes blazing, fists clenched, his face a mask of rage. I spotted him just in time, ducking behind a pair of guys, but the crowd parted, leaving me exposed. A student tried to intervene, but Chad shoved him down, seizing my arm and slamming his fist into my mouth. Pain exploded as I stomped his foot, desperate to break free, but he struck again, my nose crunching under the blow. I stumbled back, bracing for more, when 3 guys tackled him, pinning him to the ground. Campus police swarmed in, cuffing Chad as he hurled curses at me, dragging him to their car. A female officer whisked me to the hospital, my worst fear clawing at me. The hospital staff, especially nursing students, would uncover my secret, and it'd spread across campus like wildfire. They called Susan, and at my request, Monica. In a sterile room, an older doctor, kindly, professional, examined me, his x-ray confirming my nose was broken. He wanted to wait for the swelling to subside before resetting it, leaving me alone, dreading the moment my truth would unravel. Then Monica slipped in, her face paling. "What happened?" she asked, and I spilled the story, tears welling as I braced for campus-wide humiliation. She pulled me into a hug, her voice steady. "Don't worry so much. Dr. Mitchell, the doctor? He's my uncle. I'll make sure nothing gets out. He's only focused on fixing that nose of yours." I tried to laugh, but pain stopped me. Then she leaned in, her words startling. "He could help you, Taylor. He's done procedures for others, like a girl I know, to make your groin look female. If you want, he could do it when he fixes your nose." Interested? I nodded, stunned, and she left to speak with him. Susan arrived, fussing over me with Monica by her side, until Dr. Mitchell returned. Hands on hips, his gaze piercing but warm. "Monica says you're a special young lady," he said, glancing at Susan. "Is this your mother?" I nodded, and he explained a procedure to reshape my groin, making it appear naturally female, but only with Susan's consent. Her eyes met mine, and she nodded slowly. A gown, a shot, and the world blurred. When I woke, my face was bandaged, eyes nearly swollen shut, but my hand brushed a bandage lower down, confirmation of what he'd done. I drifted back to sleep, waking hours later as Susan helped me dress to go home. The mirror was brutal black and blue streaks, fading to purple, cheeks red, eyes ringed with dark bruises. At home, I peeled back the bandage in the bathroom, stunned. Where my male anatomy once defined me, there was now a smooth slit, folds so natural I could hardly believe it. It didn't matter if it was perfect, it felt right. Susan was at the kitchen table, coffee in hand. "Feel better?" she asked. I nodded, sinking into a chair. "Tell me about that idiot who attacked you." I recounted Chad's outburst, his brother's intervention at the club, and his unhinged rage. Then she pressed, "How do you feel about everything else?" She meant the procedure. "I love it," I said, voice soft but sure. "No more tucking, no more pain from sitting wrong. It feels complete, like this is how I was meant to be. Thank you for letting him do it." She grinned. "That was a done deal the moment we heard about it, wasn't it? You've been living as a girl for months. What else could we say?" She paused, eyeing me. "Your waist is slimmer, hips fuller. That class is working miracles." I sighed. "It's slow, and I hate the ballet bar, but I'm down 20 pounds, and it's getting easier." She slid a prescription paper across the table. "The doctor wrote these, one for swelling, one for pain, and this female hormones. He thinks, given how long you've been Taylor, you won't be happy as a male. They'll help with breasts, hips, and body hair, making you fully a woman to the world." I stared, speechless. "It's true, isn't it?" she pressed. "You're done with being a man." My throat tightened, but I nodded. "Why are you doing this?" I asked. Her eyes softened. "I told you, Taylor, I want you happy. You're brighter now than ever before. Clothes don't change my love for you. You can't have kids like a natural woman, but you can adopt, and I know you'll be an incredible wife and mother." Tears glistened in her eyes. "Let's fill those prescriptions, then hit a salon. A new hairstyle will lift your spirits, it always does for me. Go get dressed, honey." We started the day with a quick breakfast, the warmth of pancakes and coffee grounding me, before we headed to the pharmacy to fill my prescriptions, painkillers, anti-swelling meds, and the hormone pills that promised to sculpt me closer to the woman I was becoming. At the salon, my first visit, the stylist transformed my sandy brown hair into a sleek, low-maintenance bob, framing my face despite the bandages. I opted for a manicure, nails painted a soft coral, but skipped makeup, my bruised face still too tender. Each step, clipped hair, polished nails felt like a stride toward womanhood, but Chad's attack loomed in my mind. a stark reminder of the vulnerability women face when a man's anger turns violent. Back home, the answering machine blinked urgently. Ryan's voice filled the room, promising to stop by at 1. Panic hit, it was 10 minutes to 1. I scrambled to my room, splashing water on my face, careful around the bandages, and slipped into a simple skirt and blouse, brushing my new bob into place. Susan's laugh followed me as I fussed, her calm presence steadying me as I returned to the living room. Ryan arrived, his eyes softening with concern as he took in my bruised face. "Chad won't get near you again," he vowed, his voice firm yet gentle. He stayed an hour, his presence a quiet comfort, before leaving with a promise to call. Susan left that evening, her hug lingering as she headed home, leaving me to my routine. Monica eased me back into her class with gentler exercises, mindful of my recovery. I threw myself into the regimen, aiming to shed 15 more pounds before summer session. The scale didn't budge as I'd hoped instead. The hormones worked their magic, redistributing weight to my hips, butt, and breasts. My silhouette softened, curves blooming where flatness once reigned, each glance in the mirror a mix of awe and adjustment. The ballet bar still tormented me, but the dance aerobics felt less grueling, my body adapting to its new shape. Campus life hummed on, my classmates none the wiser, accepting Taylor as just another girl, while my friendships deepened, anchoring me in this life I was building, one careful step at a time. Ryan and I went out a few more times, our kisses sweet but restrained, his hands never wandering further, leaving me questioning if I was woman enough to stir him. 2 months later, my body had changed. The hormones worked wonders, filling me out to a full A cup, my figure now a balanced 36, 26, 36. The breast forms came off, no longer needed. My natural curves, a quiet triumph. Spring term ended, and Ryan asked me out. Then, for the first time, I invited him into my apartment for coffee. As I stood at the counter, his arms slipped around me, hands cupping my breasts, igniting every nerve. I barely managed to pour the coffee, my body humming with his touch. He carried me to the sofa, his lips finding mine, and with a flick, he unhooked my bra, freeing my new curves. The sensation was electric, a shudder of excitement as his mouth grazed my nipple, his hand sliding up my thigh. Old fears flared as his fingers neared my center, but Dr. Mitchell's work held I was safe. I pushed him back, hiked my skirt, and straddled him, feeling his desire press against me. My hips moved instinctively, slow and deliberate, his grip tightening until he pushed me off, freeing himself. "Taylor," he pleaded, and my hand found him smooth, throbbing, alive. I'd never done this, yet it felt right, woman to man. I leaned down, taking him without hesitation, and moments later, we collapsed, breathless, bound by shared desire. I fetched coffee, hiding my satisfied grin, and when it grew late, he took the sofa while I locked my bedroom door, the taste of him lingering. Lying in bed, I knew I'd crossed a threshold I'd pleased a man as a woman, guilt-free, my femininity undeniable. Morning brought breakfast, but saying no to Ryan's lingering gaze was impossible. I didn't even try, letting him pull me close before he left. In shorts and a top, I cleaned my apartment, the memory of our intimacy a quiet victory over my final hurdle. Craving a burger, I headed out and spotted Alyssa at the diner, her wave pulling me to her table. "Ryan didn't come home last night," she teased, smirking. I shrugged, playing coy. "Maybe he got lost." Her grin widened. "Lost in your panties, I bet. You've got that well-satisfied glow, or is it 'I lost my virginity' written all over you?" I laughed, denying it, but her playful nudge said she wasn't buying my good girl act. A commotion broke our banter. Chad burst in, screaming, "She's a guy! Just a guy in a dress!" My heart sank as he charged toward us, the diner's eyes swiveling our way. 2 cops moved in, the female officer's hand hovering near her pistol. Check her out, I demand it, Chad ranted, not pointing, leaving everyone guessing. I wore a thin spaghetti strap top, braless, my nipples visible, while Alyssa sported a sweatshirt and jeans. The manager, assuming Chad meant Alyssa, bellowed, "You, get out! We don't want your kind here." Alyssa stayed cool, flashing her driver's license to the female cop. "That proves nothing," the manager snapped. "Fake IDs are easy in this town." Chad, restrained by the male cop, finally pointed at me, insisting I was the fraud. I'd had enough. I grabbed the female cop's arm, nodding toward the ladies' room. Inside, I proved my truth, and we returned to the crowd. She got in Chad's face, her voice cutting. "She's female, no question. Back off." The diner fell silent, Chad's accusations crumbling, my identity affirmed in the harsh light of his rage. Chad's wild eyes locked on me as he broke free from the cops, a small revolver glinting in his hand. The diner erupted into chaos screams, scrambling patrons as I flipped our table for cover, crouching beside Alyssa, my heart hammering. Silence fell, broken only by the older cop's calm voice, urging Chad to drop the gun. A single shot cracked, followed by a thud, then 3 more in rapid succession. The sharp sting of gunpowder filled the air, mingling with panicked shrieks as people fled outside. Peeking over the table, I saw the older cop crumpled, blood pooling from his chest, and Chad lifeless nearby, 3 precise holes in his torso. A nurse patron rushed to the cop, pressing a compress to his wound, while the female officer radioed for help. Guilt crushed me, I'd caused this. Tears spilled as an older woman wrapped an arm around me, guiding Alyssa and me to a bench outside. I was a wreck by the time we could leave. Alyssa came home with me, calling Susan and Ryan. Ryan arrived in 20 minutes, his embrace fierce, promising to shield me from the fallout. Susan swept in hours later, lawyer in tow. The story exploded across the news, but my identity stayed hidden, only the cops knew Alyssa's name. When they found us, they cared little about Chad's accusations, focused instead on our history with him. I recounted his attacks, his brother's intervention, and admitted I had no clue why he fixated on my gender. They left, satisfied, but the press loomed like a storm. I feared they'd unearth my past, twisting Chad's violence into justification, painting me as a fraud. Susan sat calmly, unfazed. The lawyer, Mr. Bradley, asked Alyssa and Ryan to step out. As Ryan hugged me tightly, kissing me, I felt a flicker of strength. "You're worried about the press," Susan said once we were alone. "But they'll find nothing. After Dr. Mitchell's procedure, I had Mr. Bradley change your legal name months ago. Your records reflect Taylor, female, or they're sealed by court order. You're my daughter, and I'll swear to it in court." Mr. Bradley grinned, handing me documents, a new birth notice, a driver's license, all proclaiming me Taylor, female. I was speechless. "I planned to give these on your birthday," Susan added, "but you need them now." "Let's eat, I'm starving." Her unshakable grace stunned me, a pillar of strength amid the chaos. 3 days later, I visited the wounded cop, Zach, in the hospital. His smile warmed me, but guilt choked my voice. Tears fell as I held his hand. "It's my fault," I whispered. He stroked my hair gently. "It wasn't you, honey. That kid chose to hurt someone. That's on him." I stammered. "But he was right. I was born a boy." Zach's eyes softened. "I knew, Taylor. Saw it when he attacked you the first time. Told my partner, Amber, after this. Doesn't matter. You're a woman now, and we'd have stopped him regardless." I blinked, stunned. "You won't tell?" He shook his head. "Amber checked you've transitioned. That's enough." Overwhelmed, I hugged him, kissing his cheek just as his wife entered. I introduced myself, and she pulled me into a warm embrace. I left them, heart lighter, Zach's words a balm. Ryan visited daily, a shield against prying reporters who found nothing, the shooting fading into the city's noise. Monica kept me disciplined, pushing ballet and dance aerobics through summer. By fall, My body was near perfect curves, honed, confidence soaring, save for one lingering detail I no longer fretted over. Ryan respected my boundaries, our passion simmering but never crossing the line I'd set. That fall, he proposed, and I said yes, my heart full. While he was away on his Navy cruise, Dr. Mitchell completed my transformation, making me fully female in body, his team guarding my secret. Mr. Bradley updated my birth certificate and college records, my driver's license now official. 10 months later, Ryan and I married, and on our wedding night, I gave myself to him completely, a woman in every sense. When I told Ryan I couldn't bear children, his disappointment was gentle, tempered by love. Years later, with our business thriving, we adopted a boy, naming him Michael after Zach the officer who'd saved me twice, first from Chad, then by walking me down the aisle in his dress uniform, a proud father figure. Michael became our joy, spoiled endlessly by Zach, now a doting grandfather. But as we settled into family life, a letter arrived, postmarked from a nearby city. Inside, a single photo me, years ago, in my old mail form, with a scrawled note, "I know who you are." My blood ran cold, the past clawing back, threatening the life I'd built.